I did tell you that at some point in time that this right here was going to, let's just say, lead to a lot of chaos and eventually, well, you'll get the picture.
I want to say real fast to the black community of this town, in the words of Malcolm X, we've been hoodwinked, run amok, bamboozled. Mayor Johnson, I need you to listen. I need your undivided attention so that you can hear what the soul of Chicago is like. Yeah.
Talk to him.
Oh, that probate division. It's not just the immigrants that's coming in and bogarting our communities. That probate division with the public administration office is illegally taking our...
Say this, they got one more time to deal with it, because otherwise next time they deal with it, they're going to deal with it from the streets. We're going to take over it. Nobody's going to be able to stop us from what we're going to do to them.
Well, I have been saying for the better part of 2023 that this border crisis, which, by the way, some of these woke mayors want to import these people in, I did say that it would eventually lead to what you're seeing now, and it's only gotten worse in the city of Chicago. Now, there are two cities in particular here in the United States where people are going to focus a lot of their effort on the immigration crisis at, that right there being Chicago and New York. I'm actually surprised that New York has not blown up faster than Chicago, but then again, there may be logical reasons for that there, which we'll explain a little bit later on in the video. But the fact of the matter is that, and I've been saying this for a while, that people don't seem to understand this, especially those of color, that they're actually being replaced. I have to say it that way because of the YouTube algorithm. As a matter of fact, I even did a couple of videos on this back in the day. Of course, I'm going to remake them as a part of my video essay section of the channel, which I'm about to start getting started on. Of course, we're going to lean into that. I'll talk more about that towards the end of the video because obviously I got a preview how the weekend's going to go. But we've been saying this for a while, and let me go ahead and get the easy part out of the way. The reason why the city of Chicago is in this case is that they had an extremely woke mayor, or they faux woke mayor, in Lori Lightfoot. Let me take you guys back in time really quick before we really get to the meat of this. Back in 2019, the Trump administration, or Donald Trump himself, kind of got into it with the mayors of these very blue cities. The topic was over sanctuary cities. I want to say that he wanted the sanctuary city thing gotten rid of. He wanted to go ahead and take care of the immigrant crisis. Of course, we had the rush on the border, all that stuff there. And one of the things that Trump did was he challenged these mayors by saying, okay, well, if you guys want these people so bad, I'll go ahead and send them to your cities. Every big city mayor from LA to San Francisco to New York to Cincinnati to Cleveland to Dallas to Houston, everybody rejected it. Everybody said, no, we can't handle this. For the exception of Lori Lightfoot. Lori Lightfoot was the only one who came out and said anything, and I think Lori Lightfoot did that because she thought the other ones would probably say yes to what Trump was saying. Go ahead and take him up on the offer. Of course, we would later on find out in several conversations that she has had in these seminars, of which I cover in a couple of my previous videos on this topic, that she decided to completely turn away from the whole woke thing as a whole. Basically saying there's a crime problem, et cetera, yada, 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 yada. It was all designed to get federal funding for the city. She was being woke just for political purposes. However, this guy here in Brandon Johnson, he got elected only by 3% of the vote, mind you. He's an actual, honest-to-God, true believer, and as a result of this, you're seeing this here.
Anger and confrontations, all on display as neighbors in Woodlawn gather to talk about what they call big problems at a nearby migrant shelter. New at 10, CBS 2 political investigator Dana Kozlov takes us through what happened.
Let them talk so they have a voice.
A call for order during a heated meeting at Woodlawn's Apostolic Church of God.
Who's helping me?
The focus, this migrant shelter in the old Wadsworth Elementary School.
I would ask you all to go out there at night, in the middle of the night, and see what goes on.
What's going on, according to community members, is loitering, late-night partying, littering, prostitution, and at least one fight between migrants and residents.
It got a little heated. Objects got thrown.
But many of these residents say they no longer have any tolerance for the disruptive behavior by those seeking asylum here. It's making them feel unsafe.
They disrespect us, they rob us, they harass us.
And their patience is wearing thin.
Let me say this. They got one more time to deal with it, because otherwise, next time they deal with it, they're going to deal with it from the streets. We're going to take over it. Nobody's going to be able to stop us from what we're going to do to them.
Much of the residents' anger was directed at city officials in attendance, including 20th Ward Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor, Chicago Deputy Police Chief Stephen Chung, and Family and Support Services Commissioner Brandy Kanazi. At one point, police had to intervene, breaking up an argument during public comments.
And that absolutely is a problem.
And Alderwoman Taylor says she's now seen some of them firsthand.
The people who are keeping up the trouble are the people who are kicked out of the damn shelter.
All of the city officials here at this meeting promise that they are working for solutions to make the area around the shelter better for the neighborhood and consequences for those asylum seekers who are found to be breaking the rules or the law. But residents say they want to see something happen and something change immediately.
Necesitamos de su ayuda, necesitamos ayuda para los niños en el tema de la salud. Hay muchos niños enfermos, hay mucha basura.
I want to say real fast to the black community of this town, in the words of Malcolm X, we've been hoodwinked, run amok, bamboozled. Mayor Johnson, I need you to listen. I need your undivided attention so that you can hear what the soul of Chicago is like. Yes.
Talk to him.
Talk. That probate division. It's not just the immigrants that's coming in and bogarting our communities. That probate division with the public administration office is illegally taking our properties.
These are our touchstones being used to free everybody else except black people. You sending our money to Ukraine, to Mexico.
And they don't even let black women in their borders, FYI, in the Ukraine. Homeless black women can't get through the borders in the Ukraine and we send money there. Yo, it's so lost, it's not even funny, it's not even funny.
Children coming up missing on the border and Mexicans don't even talk about it. Y'all won't even tell the president to close the border. Close it. Y'all sorry as hell up here. You are sorry.
That right there is only one news report. I've got 2 more news reports to go with that, which, by the way, I'm going to kind of edit together. But here's the thing. You've had assaults, you've had loitering, you've had people, and of course it's about to get a lot worse because the Democrats in the area, they want the work permits, and they're about to start issuing them out, though, but they're going to be for Hispanics and Hispanics alone. Wow. So you mean to tell me that the black people who are trying to get work, the black people who are trying to work in this economy, not the ones who are trying to collect any form of benefits or anything, which, by the way, is a very, very bad stereotype, these people are not going to be allowed to work? It's, as I have said before, you're being replaced. I've been saying this for a very long time. You are in the process of being replaced. They're taking advantage of this. They know that the black population has an extremely high abortion rate. They know that a lot of the crime in the country is centered in that community. They also know it has the highest murder rate. They also know at this moment in time that it's actually having the least amount of children, meaning that they're having the least amount of children in a sense that a lot of these black pregnancies are straight up getting aborted, going back to that high abortion rate. So obviously they're taking advantage of this, and they're obviously going to try to replace you. I've been saying this for a long time. It just seems to me like some of these people may have woken up a little too late. But back to those news reports.
After they say their neighbors were assaulted by migrants staying at the former Wadsworth school building. A video posted to Facebook purports to show migrants fighting with residents and breaking car windows. People who were allegedly attacked say they can positively identify the people who assaulted them.
I'm asking and calling for the federal judge to speed up the process of the asylums. There's no way that they should be able to take Woodlawn, this community, under house arrest and make these residents afraid to even come out and sit out and enjoy this sunshine and this fresh air like we do.
Community activists say the senior citizens living nearby are fed up and want their neighborhood to be safe. We have reached out to Chicago police for a response.
The city are being used to house migrants. The Rogers Park Super 8 motel, previously used for homeless men, is the latest facility sheltering new arrival families.
The number of buses that we've received since May really makes it challenging to have a finite population because the ball and the goal keeps moving every day.
City officials testifying at a city council committee meeting today admit it is challenging to find shelter for the influx of new arrivals. 12,000 have arrived since last August, many since January.
Just from January to today, we have seen an increase of 43.5%.
The city says 68 buses of about 50 people per bus have arrived since January. 60 of those have come since May, when Mayor Brandon Johnson took office. Migrants are taken to police stations first with the goal of getting them to a shelter as soon as possible. But some aldermen say the overall plan is not working.
We ain't prepared for any more buses. And so what is the plan to say we cannot do it anymore?
20th Ward Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor says there have been several issues at the shelter in her ward. Over 600 migrants are staying at the old Wadsworth Elementary School. And there have been complaints about the lack of security at the Inn of Chicago in Streeterville, where 1,400 migrants are living. Alderman Brendan Riley says while most are obeying shelter rules and city laws, some are not. He says residents reported problems last night.
There's a group of 60 kids, many of them with guns in their waistbands, consuming alcohol and marijuana on the public right-of-way, unchecked. And this is not a one-time occurrence.
Riley and Taylor are calling for a special city council meeting with all departments present to discuss the plan for migrants. The city says there is definitely room for improvement.
We haven't done enough bridge building between the local residents and the people staying in our shelters. And this is, I think, a very significant next step.
Aldermen and women are calling on Chicago's congressional delegation to step up. They say they need help pushing the Biden administration to declare the migrant crisis a federal disaster in order to receive
kids walking around with guns. You've also got, and by the way, I'm very, very pro 2A, but for whatever reason, they won't let law-abiding people, especially law-abiding black people in that city, their right to carry, which, by the way, you do have a Second Amendment right to own and carry a weapon. Of course, that right there being a firearm, because obviously the Constitution says you have a right to bear arms that shall not be infringed. The thing is this right here, it just feels to me like this right here is just another piece of the replacement agenda that there is. But here's what the sad irony of the entire situation is. And I'm going to say this, and you're probably going to think I'm crazy as hell for saying this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I was listening to Greg Foreman yesterday going on about the same issue. And there's something that he had said. He kept on talking about blacks continuing to vote Democrat over and over and over and over and over again. You're basically voting for your death. And then I went back and double-checked, and I have to look up the actual voter numbers of exactly how black people vote. Of course, when Obama came into office, it was 98% in 2008. It was 96% in 2012. It fell down to 91% when Hillary Clinton ran, or maybe it was 90 to be exact, because Trump got 8%, and there was 2% that didn't vote, or they voted third party or did a write-in. And then in 2020, it was only 88% of blacks voted for Joe Biden. Of course, this was a much, much higher clip. Trump got 11%, but doubled the overall vote. And of course, you look at the 2022 numbers, and you see 13% are voting black, so are voting Republican. So obviously, there is a conservative movement or Republican movement in that community that I believe will continue to grow, but not at an extremely high rate. But here's the sad irony of it. What if the people of Chicago continue to vote Democrat, and what if the Hispanics that have been coming across the border, the same Hispanics that Republicans have been, preaching the anti-socialism message to, what if they surprise you and actually turn on those who brought them over?
Shelter there. CBS 2 political investigator Dana Kozloff is live outside that meeting. Dana.
Erica, that meeting is just getting underway at the Apostolic Church of God here in Woodlawn. 20th Ward Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor called the meeting. She says it's a way to address community concerns about what is happening in and outside of that migrant shelter at the old Wadsworth Elementary School. Now, Taylor, who also lives in this community, says she is personally seeing things occurring at the shelter, outside the shelter, that she hasn't seen before, including loitering and partying into the late hours in areas around that former school. Other concerns, at least one fight, prostitution or possible sex trafficking, and littering. But Taylor believes many of these problems are being caused by people who've been kicked out of the shelter, not by those following the rules.
We need to get a handle on it now, and because the city never had a real plan, it's been an opportunity. This mayor hasn't been in office 90 days yet, and so they're working as much as they can and as hard as they can to put a plan together for everybody.
Taylor says this is also an opportunity for her to update the community on what the city's plans are moving forward when it comes to handling the influx of migrants, especially over the next few weeks when city colleges classes resume. As you know, many city colleges are being used as shelters right now. And of course, it's also an opportunity for residents to voice their concerns. I'm reporting live in Woodlawn. Dana Kozlov, CBS 2 News. Erica?
All right, Dana,
Here's my logic behind that. So you get a bunch of Hispanics that suddenly rush the border, being brought in by Democrats, okay? And of course, some of these Hispanics do in fact know English and they do understand. And I'm pretty sure that there's some in that group who obviously, as a matter of fact, I would argue more than half, who just saw it as an opportunity to get to the United States, to escape South America, to escape Venezuela, to escape Colombia, to escape all these places where you have socialistic governments, Argentina, of course, possibly Brazil, Central America, etc., etc., etc. So they obviously get into the crowd of those who are just simply trying to get here to get here. Some of these people probably really and truly do want to make a life, which is also something that Maher at Fresh and Fit had a bit of a rant about. Let me go ahead and remind you.
Chinese people come to this fucking country. You know what they do? They open up a fucking Chinese food spot in the hood. The Indian people, they go open up a convenience store in the hood. The Arabs, they come into the United States. They go put a fucking liquor store. Why you gotta approve? I'm just chilling. Oh man, yeah, I'm doing. Fuck out of here, bro. Stop crying. I went through the same shit and I made something to myself. I grew up in a poor household with foreign parents that didn't even fucking speak English, making $8 an hour. My fucking dad getting robbed by people, being a cabbie in New York City. I don't want to hear no fucking excuses. None. That's all you motherfuckers do is cry, bro. That's all they do on fucking Twitter. Well, I'm really black because my parents were here in 1945 and they know Martin Luther King. Shut the fuck up. That's why foreigners come to this country and go, oh, systematic oppression, oh, this other fuck shit. Stop being a fucking pussy, man. That's what it comes down to because I've suffered the same shit you guys have and I chose not to. Matter of fact, I have even more excuses because not only did I get it for being black, I also got it for being Muslim. I also got it for speaking Arabic. I also got it because of the way I look. So I was being made fun of, being called a fucking terrorist on one end, and then also being called a fucking black guy on the other end, and being made fun of for being both. So I don't want to hear no fucking excuses. Okay? Because if the KKK comes after me, they get like a double kill, triple kill, because they're not colored, so they can't say this shit. You can't talk on black community situations because you ain't black. Okay, if I'm not a mathematician, I can't say 1 + 1 is 2? No. We got to operate in objective reality here and pull our fucking feelings out of it. A lot of people are living in poverty that happen to be colored because of their own fucking choices, not because of the color of their skin or where they grew up socioeconomically or anything else like that. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Here is that irony. Or, of course, here are the ironies, because there's actually a few ironies here. Irony number one. You know, the Republican Party over the past, I don't know, since about 2010, they've been running against the socialism moniker. Now, a lot of people have criticized Republicans for doing this, myself included, but then it took me a while to realize, and it was a guy who lives in the state of Arizona who's got a YouTube channel who calls himself the Rageaholic, who brought this up and simply said, why do you think Republicans have been running on this shtick? Because they obviously see a border crisis and they obviously the demographics in the channel and the country changing. Don't you guys find it weird that these Hispanics come over? And by the way, I am very, very much in favor of a border wall, but let me go ahead and put this point down. There are some in the group who are obviously coming over for nefarious means. However, there are obviously some more, though, who are coming over because they saw it as an opportunity to get into the United States. Now, me personally, I'm not in favor of illegal immigration. I'm not in favor of that at all. And I do believe that there are some people out there who do, in fact, try to abuse the system. However, as a man who has served with Hispanics and as a man who, quite frankly, grew up around Hispanics, I'm not against Hispanics being here. And most Hispanics are very, very hardworking, and they do, in fact, try to get the citizenship. And most of the ones I have ran into are, for the most part, socially conservative. They don't always vote that way, but for the most part, they are. We can work with one another against the woke. However, and I do know a lot of black people who are obviously very socially conservative, grew up around them, served with a lot of them, all that type of stuff there, who just can't seem to get the message, however, that they're voting for their own deletion. They don't seem to realize that they're actually being replaced. This is another example. It makes me feel like race wars are obviously being designed in the cities, which, by the way, we'll do a video essay on in the near future, much broader one on race wars and their actual purpose. The thing is this right here. The irony is, like Greg Foreman was saying the other day, it's possible that these black people in these inner cities will just continue to vote Democrat regardless of the fact that they know that they have been hoodwinked, which is very, very weird. However, these Hispanics, who, by the way, did in fact flee socialism for an opportunity to get to the United States, they may feel like they may have gotten hoodwinked in the process by the Biden administration and the left, and the next 2 to 4 presidential or midterm cycles, they may find themselves voting Republican to go up against the socialistic messaging, because obviously the Democrats have created a morass by bringing in a bunch of socialists in their party. And by the way, at the same time, as H.A. Goodman would say, they have to get rid of the progressives, because if they don't get rid of the progressives, they're not electable long term. The problem is that roughly half of their party is currently progressive, and this right creates another problem for them in the future. Leads me to irony number 2. You know, guys, in one of those videos, I brought up the fact. I brought this up. And I want you guys to bear with me, okay? I brought this up because obviously I'm somebody who likes to pay attention to certain events in history. The 1968 Democratic National Convention, held in Chicago, Illinois. You know, the one with all the riots and all the left-wing people like the Weather Underground starting up all kinds of problems, Black Panther movement, all that type of stuff there. Chicago has got some of the worst crime in the country, and it's absolutely ridiculous. High murder rates, and now you're bringing in a lot of Hispanics, and you hear a lot of people saying, well, we're going to actually physically do something about it, which, by the way, makes me think something's probably going to pop off here in that city real soon. Same thing in New York. It just happens to be Chicago is probably going to be the first for it to actually happen. And you have a true believer in the woke. You have a guy who says they're rioting because they're hungry. You have basically an extremely weak person leading the city. And you also have a Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy Jr., running for president on the Democratic ticket. Yet the Democrats have already basically told him, no dice, you're not going to get a chance here because, yeah, we need to ensure that one of the 2 people that are currently in office right now, being Joe and, can't really say it, are going to be on the ticket. Which makes me think that all this talk about Gavin Newsom and all this talk about other Democratic Party candidates replacing Joe Biden is complete, total nonsense. If they choose to replace him, they're going to replace him with Kamala Harris. That's why it is shows like The View actually ask the question, you know, why is she so unpopular? Well, there are reasons why she's so unpopular. I mean, this woman has actually got a lower approval rating than Dick Cheney had. And Dick Cheney shot a guy in the face. It makes me think that these people are absolutely stuck. They can't really contain the situation. And if 2024's Democratic National Convention is anything like 1968, it's going to be a lot worse than the American people are going to have more access and more tools to see exactly how bad it can get, especially given the fact that every time we turn around, there's an indictment on the leading Republican candidate. I just figured I'd throw that out. Here is the last irony of the entire situation. You wanted it. You wanted it. I mean, you actually wanted it. If you look at the actual voter demographics, you actually look at the racial demographics of the vote, all I can say to you is that you won by 3 points. You got an actual true wokester, an actual person who believes in the message, a person who actually believes in everything that's been said, all the SJW talking points. And my response to that is simply, you broke it, you bought it. I would love to say that I feel bad for you. I would love to say I feel sorry for you. I empathize with your pain, but I do not feel sorry for you. You actually voted for it. I'm just glad to see that some people out there are obviously seeing that they've been hoodwinked and that we were right. But then again, at the same time, though, they'll never admit that we were correct. With that right there being said, guys, let me go ahead and kind of preview the weekend. I'm going to have a second video out tonight, the follow-up to the Tate conversation, which, by the way, is going to involve Liz Wheeler. We're going to ask the question whether she was being hyperbolic in her criticism or if she was correct. There's going to be a video out on Saturday about the AI thing. And then, speaking of this immigration situation, there's been a lot of conversations about Florida's curriculum on the topic of slavery and people, going at one another, conservatives fighting with one another. I think I'm going to make a bit of a video essay on that. It's about it's going to ask the question, did people actually learn skills while they were in bondage? Did it actually benefit, stuff like that there? I'm just going to be doing a bit of a video project on that. It'll more than likely be out on Sunday evening, so make sure you guys stick around for that. Guys, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe. If you guys feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit the notifications bell and please subscribe. Please leave a comment in the comment section. I would love to hear what you guys have got to say. Only about maybe 17% of you guys that watch the content or even subscribe, so please hit that subscribe button. Let's make this channel grow. Also, like I said before, please leave a comment because I would really and truly love to hear what you guys have got to say. Share the video with friends and family. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. All you got to do is just type in John Claymore. You will find me there, and I shall see you guys later.
You're a dead man, Ramsey.
No wonder you guys never talk.